Hello everyone, how are you? Over the past few weeks, we have been talking about research, data, and evidence. Now it's time to apply those research tools to some of the biggest challenges facing our world. That's why I'm launching a new series, SDGs Explained Through Research. When you hear the term of Sustainable Development Goals, or simply SDGs, what comes to mind? I think, or most likely, it's those colorful icons you see everywhere on social media, university website, government report, or even international conference. But guys, here's the questions. Are the SDGs simply a list of good intentions, or are they something much more powerful? As a research guys, I would argue that SDGs are not just goals. They are one of the large global framework ever created to measure human development. In 2015, countries around the world adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, and its core are 17 goals addressing the major global challenges such like poverty, health, education, equality, economic growth and climate change, etc. But here's what many people don't realize, guys. The SDGs are not only political commitment, they are also built around data. Just imagine a government saying, we want less poverty. Wow, that's good, it sounds really good. But as a researcher guide, we immediately ask what exactly is poverty? How do you measure it? And how do you know whether it's decreasing or increasing? And how much improvement count as success? This is where the SDG become interesting. For each goal, researchers and international organizations have developed specific indicators that can be measured using data. Let's take a simple example. Like instead of simply saying what we want better health, okay, we can what? We can measure things like life expectancy, access to healthcare, maternal mortality, whatever. In other words, we can say SDGs transform board ambition into measurable targets. And what cannot be measured is often difficult to improve, guys. This is why we as a researcher play such important role in this case. Because as a researcher, we collect data, we design indicator, we evaluate policies, and we determine whether progress is real or only just appear on paper. The SDG also provide a common language that allows research across different countries to compare progress